We're going to skip around a little bit just to get a few different variety of equations for us to solve together. So let's turn to number 4. The absolute value of negative 6m equals 30. I want to find the correct m value for my solutions. So if I take it times negative 6 and then the absolute value, it's equal to 30. I want to know what numbers negative 6m could be. So if I take the absolute value, it's equal to 30. What numbers, that's one of them. What numbers have an absolute value of 30? What numbers are 30 away from 0?
30.
30 is 1, what's the other?
Negative 30.
Negative 30. So couldn't negative 6m be equal to 30 for one solution? Because then I would take the absolute value of 30, which is 30. Couldn't negative 6m also be equal to negative 30? Because for that solution of m, where I take the absolute value of negative 30, it's still 30 to satisfy my equation, right? There's the switch. Most of these equations, not all of them, are going to have 2 solutions. Because aren't there 2 numbers that are 30 away from 0? Both positive and negative 30. That's not right.
Yeah.
Right? So let's solve these. Negative 6 times m. How do I get m by itself?
5 divided by 6.
Divide by negative 6. 30 divided by negative 6 is negative 5.
Are there other ways you could come to figure out the answers?
This one's pretty easy. Sometimes you can almost do it in your head. When these equations get more complicated, I'd like you to kind of split it apart. Okay? It's just kind of solving one equation and then immediately solving something very similar, but switching the number to negative 30. When you solve an equation, you can check your work. Plug negative 5 back in for m. Negative 5 times negative 6 is positive 30. Then take the absolute value. Yeah, we get 30 like we're supposed to. Of course, there's another solution. Let's solve the second half here. Negative 6m equals negative 30. Divide by negative 6. Good.
5.
5 or negative 5? 5. Double negative. It's a 5. Does 5 work as well? 5 times negative 6 is negative 30. Take absolute value of that. Yeah, we get 30 like we're supposed to. Almost every single time, I have students get one of the answers, not the other. They forget that there's also 30 and negative 30. There's also 2 numbers. I'm sorry.
Do you want to solve those? Like find both answers?
Yeah, because there's more than one solution. We got to find all of them. You forget that there's 2 numbers that we take the absolute value of to get 30. Yes?
So if we find the number, like we found negative 5, we just put 5 for the other answer?
That's just a coincidence. That doesn't always work out like that. Okay, her question was, if this is negative 5, does that mean the other solution is just the opposite, positive 5? Not quite. In fact, the next one's going to show you one where that doesn't work out quite as nice. Go down below. Let's just try 6. Absolute value of negative 4 plus 5x equals 16. I want to know what value of x makes the correct number. So I take the absolute value of it, it gets to 16. So what could negative 4 plus 5x be equal to? What numbers have an absolute value of 16? What numbers are 16 away from 0? 16 and negative 16. So I always split it apart. There's 2 equations to solve. One where negative 4 plus 5x equals 16. Another where it's the opposite. Negative 16. Now we're just going to solve this in a couple more steps. What comes first? Adding 4 or dividing by 5 to get x by itself? Adding 4 would probably be the most wise move. Negative 4 and 4 cancel out, so I'll just bring down 5x on the left. On the right, 16 and 4 combined to make 20. Divide by 5, so x has to be 4. Plug in 4 to check your work if you need to. It should be a solution. That's part of the story. Because aren't there two numbers that might make this true? There's a number that makes what's inside here equal to 16. And there's a number that we could solve for that makes it equal to negative 16. So they're talking about absolute value. Absolute value of negative 16 would still be a solution. Let's solve it very similarly. Add 4 first. What's negative 16 plus 4? Watch the negatives. 4 more than negative 16 is closer to 0. 12 or negative 12? Yeah. And divide by 5. Unfortunately, 5 doesn't divide into 12 evenly. So just leave it as an improper fraction. Some people like decimals, but to me that's more work. If I can just answer as an improper fraction, why go the extra step and type it in the calculator? Questions you guys have so far? Let's get down to 10. Bottom one. Absolute value of v plus 8 minus 5 equals 2. Look at the equation closely. What do you notice? What's a little different about this one than the two that we just tried?
There's a 5, negative 5.
Say again, so?
There's a negative 5 on the outside.
Okay, so I don't know what number I'm trying to make by taking absolute value. I don't have the absolute value equal to one specific number. There's an extra 5 I have to worry about first. That's not a problem. How do I get rid of subtracting 5? Add 5. I want to get the absolute value solved for, so I know what number I'm trying to make by taking the absolute value. Absolute value of v plus 8, and 2 and 5 makes 7. I need to solve for v to make what's inside that quantity the numbers who are 7 away from 0. What numbers have an absolute value of 7? Right, negative 7 and 7. We just split it apart. You guys are getting good at that. Solve for each. Take away 8, so we'll get negative. Solve the second half. What's negative 7 minus 8? 8 less than negative 7. Oh, thank you. Everybody can subtract negatives from negatives. Give them a sense. Yep. One's positive, one's negative.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Because don't 7 and 7 have the same absolute value of 7?
Yeah.
All right, tell you what. Flip over to the back. Let's try one more. Then the rest of the time is yours. About 18.
Oh, we should do that one's difficult.
6. Absolute value 1 minus 5x minus 9 equals 57. I got to get absolute value by itself. I got to know what number I'm trying to make by taking absolute value to solve my equation. What first?
The 9?
Add 9? All right. 9 more than 57. 66. Still not there yet. What's next?
Divide by 6.
Divide by 6. Someone last hour said distribute. These are absolute value signs, not parentheses. It's not distribution. But what we can do is divide everything by 6, like you said. So absolute value, 1 minus 5x equals 11. Now I know what 1 minus 5x has to be. 1 minus 5x is equal to the numbers who are 11 away from 0. Numbers whose absolute value is 11. And
Possible.
yes. Split it up. Okay, good question. We add one. Which one's negative? Is the 1 negative or is the 5 negative? Is the 1 negative or is the 5? 5 is negative. So why do I get rid of the 1? I want to add 1 or subtract it? Minus 1. Negative 5x equals positive 10. Negative 2, right?
Yes.
Would be negative 10 or negative 12.
Yeah, no, that-
Okay, so when I subtract 1 from negative 11, here's Sophie's question. What's negative 11 minus 1? Negative 12, yep. It's got to go more negative, so further from 0. Now divide everything by negative 5.
yeah.
12, 5 doesn't divide into 12, so let's just answer as a fraction.
Negative 12 over negative 5.
But the double negative makes it into a
Positive.
positive. 12 fifths.